I've been spending about 45 minutes to an hour on each one of these measures with editorial boards around the state, so covering them in about 2 minutes each. Well, I've already wasted half my time on one of them here, just saying that. The Measure 58 is a measure that would take Oregon in the same direction that states like California and Arizona have gone, getting away from the bilingual education system we have today, which essentially places immigrant students who are not English proficient in ESL classes, English as a second language classes, for often 4 to 6 years, where states like Arizona and California have said, no, you come here, we're going to teach you English, we're going to immerse you in English, and in 1 to 2 years, you will be mainstreamed with everyone else. And one of the things our campaign has done, we have people coming in from other states. For example, the Deputy Superintendent of Education for the state of Arizona has spoken to groups on our behalf, stating that they do 1 year English immersion. They have over 90% of their kids are English proficient enough after 1 year that they are in no longer in ESL classes, but they are mainstreamed. And here we're at 4 to 6 years, and in Woodburn, for example, where the highest concentration of immigrant students in the state, they are running over 80% fail rate after 4 years in ESL classes. And one interesting thing, and I'll say in my brief time on this measure, is that if you were designing a system that was interested in foreign students coming here and learning English, would you do what Oregon does today? Today, we actually give schools approximately $2,650 per year per student for every year they can keep those kids in ESL classes. In other words, we reward you for not teaching English proficiency. And if you actually reach that level of proficiency where they're no longer mainstream, we take the $2,650 a year per student away from you. In other words, we punish you if you actually make them English proficient. We reward you for not making them English proficient. And that is it's a kind of system you would say, how does that make sense on behalf of kids? And the interesting thing about that particular system is that we don't even require that they spend the $2,650 on ESL programs. Woodburn does really well. They spend about half on ESL. Moving to the next measure. I'm done with that one. Hopefully I'm on schedule. 59. Oh man, am I ever getting a beating on Measure 59. Measure 59 says federal income taxes that you pay will be fully deductible on your state tax return. In other words, no Oregonian under Measure 59 will be required to pay state income taxes on money they paid to the federal government as federal income taxes. No more double taxation of income. There's a couple of ways to increase taxes. One of them is very upfront, honest, in my opinion, usually a bad idea, but that is you just raise the rates and say, here's what the new tax rate is going to be. But the legislature has figured a kind of a backdoor accounting scheme way of increasing taxes, and it's harder to get caught at it, and that is, instead of increasing the rate you pay on your income, we'll just go ahead and remove some of your deductions and increase your income. Now, you don't actually get more money. In fact, you get less money, but we make your taxable income higher by removing some of your deductions. That's what Measure 59 is trying to cure. Every person in this room today, if your income is high enough, has about a $2,600 deduction on your state tax return, thanks to the last time I put a measure similar to this one on the ballot. The cap used to be $3,000. I put a measure on the ballot in 2000 to remove that cap, and the legislature panicked, sort of like what they did with Measure 57 this time. They said, how do we stop this measure? Let's put a competing measure on the ballot, and we'll make the cap go from $3,000 to $5,000 and index it to inflation. So today, because of my measure, which everyone says, well, you lost in 2000. Well, actually, I think I kind of won. Everybody in the state pretty much got a $2,600 deduction that they didn't have before. So Measure 59, about 500,000 people in the state will benefit from it. You say, but yeah, what about the poor? Well, the poor have already been given this same tax rate. Low-income Oregonians already get to deduct all of their federal taxes on their state tax return. This measure simply gives everyone else in the state the same tax rate. About $1 billion hit to the general fund if it were in place right now. This particular biennium we are in, the state general fund would still have grown about $1 billion, or about 10% after the cut that this measure would have required. So it would have been no actual real cuts, only a reduction in growth. Last measure, measure 60. I try to get the pose that you see on TV, like, or like, I don't know how they got it. I'm always a smiley guy. I don't know how they found this picture of me not looking happy, but measure 60 is a measure that moves us away from a system that really makes no sense from the education perspective or from the kids' perspective. Currently, about 95% of a school teacher's pay is based upon how long they've been there. Doesn't matter if they're doing a good job, poor job, they get more money because they've been there longer. And you can be a dead wood teacher at the top that's been there for 20 years and get paid twice as much as a teacher that's only been there for 2 years, even if the newer teacher's twice as good as you are. And if there are layoffs, guess who goes first? Not the teacher that is more wasting children's time, but the one that goes first is the newest, the youngest, even if they happen to be the best teacher in the entire school. And what this measure does, yes, I don't define classroom performance because that wasn't the intent of the measure. The intent of the measure is to say the current seniority-based system is a failure. It does not reward performance. Good teachers and excellence are not rewarded. This measure says we're going to reward excellence. We're going to pay teachers based on how good a job they do. And if the measure passes, we will, as a state, sit down and say, okay, how do we design a measurement of teacher performance that is actually fair for teachers, fair for the kids, and good for education? I think we can do that. We can lead the nation in it. And all this measure is designed to do is to make us change the focus from seniority to performance. Thank you.